have UK permanent resident status, but I left the UK for more than 2 years during the COVID-19 pandemic. How can I regain my permanent resident status? Hi, this is Jessica from Latitude Law, and today we'll be looking at the question of how a permanent resident status can be reapplied for when a person has been outside the UK for more than 2 years with reference to the COVID-19 pandemic. A person who has acquired permanent residence in the UK can usually remain outside the UK for a continuous period of up to 2 years without their status being affected. This period is different for people who have acquired settled status under the EU settlement scheme. They can usually then remain outside the UK for up to 5 years without their status being affected. If the person is a Swiss national and gains settled status under the EU settlement scheme, or is a family member of a Swiss national, then they can remain outside the UK for up to 4 years without their status being affected. There are some exceptions to this. Family members who've accompanied members of the armed forces overseas, or family members of permanent British Council employees aren't affected by this limit on absences. Otherwise, a person who holds UK permanent resident status but has been outside the UK for more than 2 years, or 4 or 5 years when that limit applies, will then have their status lapse. If a person's permanent resident status has lapsed, they then need to make an entry clearance application to allow them to return to the UK. This is known as a returning resident application. A person making a returning resident application will need to show that they have a genuine intention to settle in the UK. Somebody who wishes to return to the UK for a short period for reasons such as medical treatment would likely struggle to meet this requirement. An intention to settle in the UK can be demonstrated by showing strong ties to the UK, for example, family members living in the UK, property ownership in the UK, or business interests here. The applicant will also, the applicant's period of original residence will also be considered, as well as the reason why they left the UK. The Home Office's guidance on considering these types of applications specifically notes that if a person has unintentional absences from the UK due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is a point that will be considered. A returning resident application, if entry clearance must be submitted from outside the UK, the applicant must submit their biometrics and pay the application fee. If the application is successful, they'll be issued with an entry clearance vignette. They will need to travel to the UK within the validity of that vignette, and then they'll be issued with a new BRP when they get to the UK. If you have any questions about making a returning resident application, then please contact Latitude Law and we can assist you with this. Thanks.